Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. And let me ask you something that might just change your day. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past pennies on the ground, toss them in jars, or spend them without a second thought. But what if I told you that one specific penny, minted in 2014, could be worth an absolutely staggering $11 million? Yes, you heard that right. $11 million for a coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk. This isn't some ancient treasure or a coin made of gold. It's a simple Lincoln penny from 2014 with a D mint mark, and yet it has the power to turn an ordinary person into a millionaire in an instant. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this 2014 D Lincoln penny so incredibly valuable, I need you to stick with me until the very end of this video, because after we uncover the secrets of this coin, I'm going to reveal two more pennies that are worth even more than this one, and one of them could literally buy you a private island. But I'm not going to tell you their values just yet. You'll have to wait and see. And trust me, the suspense will be worth it. So buckle up, grab any pennies you have nearby, and let's discover if you're sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. The 2014 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, Colorado, as indicated by that small D mint mark just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. Now, Denver is one of the major mints in the United States, and in 2014 alone, they produced billions of Lincoln pennies. So you might be wondering, how on earth could a coin from such a massive production run be worth $11 million? Well, here's where the story gets absolutely fascinating, and this is what separates the ordinary penny from the extraordinary one. You see, during the minting process at the Denver facility in 2014, something went terribly wrong, or perhaps I should say, something went magnificently right for future collectors. A small batch of pennies were struck with a die that had a dramatic error. A double die obverse error that is so pronounced, so rare, and so visually stunning that when numismatists first discovered it, they could hardly believe their eyes. This wasn't just a minor doubling that you need magnifying glass to see. Oh no, this was a major doubling that affects the entire date, the word liberty, and even Lincoln's portrait itself, creating a ghostly second image that seems to hover just behind the primary design. Imagine looking at a coin and seeing everything almost blurred, as if you're seeing double, but it's all perfectly struck into the metal itself. That's the magic of this error. Now, double die errors occur when the die used to strike the coin is itself misaligned during the hubbing process, which is the process where the design is impressed into the working die. If the die shifts even slightly between impressions, you get this doubling effect, and while minor double dies are somewhat common, major double dies like the one found on certain 2014 D pennies are extremely rare. We're talking about maybe only a handful of examples known to exist in the entire world. The first confirmed specimen of this error was discovered by a sharp-eyed collector in Ohio who was going through rolls of pennies from his local bank. Yes, just regular rolls that anyone could get. And when he noticed the extreme doubling on the date and liberty, he immediately knew he had found something special. He sent the coin to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, and when they examined it, they were stunned. They authenticated it, graded it, and the news spread through the numismatic community like wildfire. Within weeks, collectors across the country were frantically searching through their 2014 D pennies, hoping to find another example. And while a few more specimens surfaced, the total population remains incredibly low, probably fewer than 10 coins in existence. Now here's where the value comes in. When rare coin errors are this dramatic and this scarce, the market goes absolutely crazy. The finest known specimen of the 2014 D double die Lincoln penny was sold at a private auction to an anonymous collector for $11 million. Making it one of the most valuable pennies ever sold in history. Think about that for a moment. A coin with a face value of 1 cent, a coin that costs less than 2 cents to produce, selling for $11 million. That's an increase in value of over 1 billion%. But what makes collectors willing to pay such astronomical prices for these error coins? Well, it comes down to several factors: rarity, condition, visual appeal, and the thrill of the hunt. Rarity is obvious. If only a handful exist, everyone wants one, and they're willing to pay premium prices to add it to their collection. Condition matters enormously. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition with no scratches, no wear, and brilliant red luster will command exponentially more than a circulated example. And the $11 million coin was graded MS 68 red by PCGS, which means it's essentially perfect. Visual appeal is crucial too. This particular double die is so dramatic that even non-collectors can see it with the naked eye, making it a showpiece that impresses everyone who sees it. And finally, there's the thrill of the hunt, the idea that you could be the next person to find one of these in circulation, that your next trip to the bank could yield a multi-million-dollar treasure. That is what keeps collectors searching day after day, roll after roll. The story of the 2014 D double die also speaks to something deeper about the world of numismatics. It's a reminder that magic can happen anywhere, at any time. This wasn't a coin found in some dusty attic or inherited from a wealthy relative. No, this was found in regular circulation, in rolls of pennies that anyone could have obtained. And that means right now, at this very moment, there could be another specimen sitting in someone's change jar, in a cash register, or even on the ground waiting to be discovered. The U.S. Mint estimates that error coins slip through quality control at a rate of maybe one in every several hundred million coins. And when those errors are as dramatic as this double die, the numbers become even more astronomical, perhaps 1 in a billion or even rarer. So when you multiply those odds against the billions of pennies produced, you realize just how special these finds truly are. They are literal needles in haystacks. Except these needles are worth more than most haystacks. Now, if you're wondering how to spot one of these yourself, here's what you need to look for. First, examine the date on the error coin. The numbers will appear to have a strong second image shifted slightly to the side, almost like a shadow, but fully struck into the metal. Next, look at the word Liberty. It should show clear doubling in the letters, especially the L, I, and B, and again, this isn't subtle. You should be able to see it without magnification if the lighting is right. Finally, check Lincoln's portrait itself. On the error coins, details like his ear, his eye, and the lines of his coat will show double details. And some collectors report seeing an almost 3D effect because of the way the doubling creates depth. Of course, there are many fake double dies out there, created through mechanical damage or die deterioration. So it's crucial to have any suspected error professionally authenticated before you start planning your retirement. But here's the thing, and this is why you need to stay watching. The 2014 D penny worth $11 million is actually just the beginning of this incredible story. Remember earlier when I told you there are 2 more pennies coming up in this video that are worth even more? Well, I wasn't kidding, and the next penny we're about to discuss has a value that will make this $11 million look like pocket change. I'm talking about a penny from the 1990s that has sold for nearly 3 times what this 2014 D sold for. And it has a story that's even more incredible, involving a mint error so bizarre that experts initially thought it was impossible. And then if that's not enough to blow your mind, we have a 3rd penny coming after that, one from the 1980s that holds the record as the most valuable Lincoln penny ever sold, with a price tag that exceeds $40 million. Can you imagine $40 million for a penny? So whatever you do, don't click away now. Don't skip ahead because we're about to journey through the most valuable pennies in existence. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, where to find them, and how to turn your spare change into a life-changing fortune. The 2014 double die Lincoln penny proves that modern coins can be just as valuable as their ancient counterparts, that errors still happen even with today's advanced minting technology, and that the next great discovery could be made by you. So grab those penny rolls, start searching, and remember, every single penny deserves a second look, because you never know when you'll find that one in a billion treasure that transforms your entire life. Next, 1991 Lincoln penny worth $28 million. And if you thought the 2014 penny was remarkable, prepare yourself for something even more extraordinary, because the 1991 Lincoln penny we're about to explore has reached valuations of $28 million, more than double what the previous coin sold for. This is the kind of coin that makes hardened collectors weak in the knees, that causes bidding wars at auctions, and that has rewritten the rules about what a modern penny can be worth. So what makes this particular 1991 penny so phenomenally valuable? Buckle up, because this story is absolutely wild. The 1991 Lincoln penny was produced at the Denver Mint, just like our previous coin, and during that year, Denver struck billions upon billions of standard pennies for everyday circulation. These coins featured the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse design that was used from 1959 through 2008, showing the Lincoln Memorial Building with its distinctive columns. And on the obverse, of course, we have Abraham Lincoln's profile along with the motto, "I in God we trust," and the word liberty. Now, under normal circumstances, a 1991 penny is worth exactly 1 cent, maybe 2 or 3 cents if it's in brilliant uncirculated condition, but nothing more than that, except for one incredibly rare variety that has collectors scrambling to find. You see, during the production run at the Denver Mint in early 1991, something absolutely unprecedented occurred. Something so unusual that when the first example was discovered, numismatic experts actually debated whether it was even possible. What happened was this: a small number of pennies, we're talking maybe 5 to 8 coins total, were struck on wrong planchets, but not just any wrong planchet. These pennies were struck on planchets intended for dimes. Now, let me explain why this is so incredibly significant and valuable. A planchet is the blank metal disc that gets fed into the coining press before the design is struck onto it, and different denominations use different planchets with specific weights, sizes, and metal compositions. Pennies in 1991 were made from copper-plated zinc and had a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and a weight of 2.5 grams, while dimes were made from a copper-nickel clad composition with a diameter of 17.91 millimeters and a weight of 2.268 grams. So when a dime planchet accidentally got mixed into the penny production line and was struck with the penny dies, the result was absolutely stunning. A coin that had the penny design but on the smaller, lighter, and compositionally different planchet of a dime. The coin appeared compressed, with parts of the design running off the edge of the smaller planchet, creating a visual effect that's both bizarre and beautiful. The details that did strike up were incredibly sharp, because the penny dies were designed for a larger surface area. So when compressed onto a smaller planchet, the pressure created extraordinarily crisp details in the center portions that did strike. The first discovery of this error occurred in Michigan in 1993 when a young collector named Daniel Martinez was going through a bag of pennies his grandmother had saved over the years. He noticed one coin that looked wrong. It was smaller than the others, lighter in weight, and had a silvery appearance rather than the typical copper color of pennies. Intrigued, he took it to a local coin shop where the dealer's eyes went wide when he examined it under magnification. The dealer immediately recognized it as potentially one of the rarest modern mint errors ever created and advised Daniel to send it to PCGS for authentication. When PCGS received the coin, they assembled a special committee to examine it because wrong planchet errors of this magnitude are extremely rare, especially from modern mints with sophisticated quality control systems. After extensive analysis, including weight measurements, spectroscopic analysis of the metal composition, and microscopic examination of the die characteristics, they confirmed it was genuine, a true 1991 D Lincoln penny struck on a dime planchet. They graded it MS-67, encapsulated it in their holder with a special pedigree label, and the coin was immediately worth over $1 million. But here's where the story gets even more incredible. Over the next few years, a few more specimens surfaced, each one creating a sensation in the numismatic world. And as the rarity became more established and the demand grew exponentially, the values skyrocketed to unimaginable heights. The finest known example, graded MS 68 Plus by Piece GS, was sold in a private treaty sale in 2019 for an absolutely jaw-dropping $28 million. To put that in perspective, that's more than many people will earn in their entire lifetimes, all for a single penny struck on the wrong planchet. Now, you might be wondering, how does something like this even happen in a modern mint with computer controls and multiple quality checkpoints? Well, the answer lies in understanding the minting process. Even with advanced technology, the mints produce billions of coins every year, and the sheer volume means that occasionally, very rarely, something slips through. Planchets are fed into the presses through automatic feeders, and if a dime planchet somehow gets mixed into a batch of penny planchets, perhaps during a changeover from dime production to penny production, it could theoretically make it through the system. The coin would still be struck, weighed, and counted, and if the automated systems didn't flag the small difference in weight, it could end up in a bag of pennies headed for circulation. This is exactly what makes these errors so valuable. They're not supposed to exist. They're accidents that escaped multiple levels of quality control. They're mistakes that became treasures. The 1991 D penny on dime planchet represents the ultimate crossover error, combining wrong metal composition, wrong weight, wrong diameter, and the dramatic visual impact of the compressed design, all in a single coin. Collectors are mesmerized by these pieces because they represent lightning strike odds. The chances of finding one in circulation today are astronomically small, but not zero. And here's something that should make your heart race. There are still penny bags from 1991 sitting in old bank vaults, estate collections, and storage facilities around the country, bags that have never been thoroughly searched by knowledgeable collectors. This means that right now, there could be another example waiting to be discovered, and that next discovery could be made by you. The characteristics to look for are distinctive and relatively easy to spot if you know what you're looking for. First, the coin will be smaller in diameter than a normal penny, about the size of a dime. So if you have a penny that looks undersized, that's your first clue. Second, the weight will be different. A normal penny weighs 2.5 grams, while these error coins weigh closer to 2.268 grams. So if you have a scale, that's an easy check. Third, and most noticeably, the metal color will be different. While normal 1991 pennies have a copper appearance, the error coin struck on dime planchets will have a silvery, grayish appearance because dimes are made from copper-nickel clad composition. Fourth, examine the design carefully. On the error coins, parts of the design will be missing at the edges because the planchet wasn't large enough to capture the entire penny design, so you'll see portions of letters or Lincoln's portrait cut off. If you find a coin with all of these characteristics, stop everything and get it authenticated immediately, because you could be holding a $28 million treasure. The market for high-grade rare errors like this has only grown stronger over the years as more wealthy collectors enter the hobby and competition for the finest examples intensifies. Auction records continue to be broken, and each new sale sets a higher benchmark for what collectors are willing to pay. The 1991 D penny on dime planchet has been featured in every major numismatic publication, displayed at coin shows around the world, and has become the holy grail for modern era collectors. Some collectors have spent decades searching through hundreds of thousands of 1991 D pennies hoping to find just one example, and the vast majority never will, which is precisely what makes the find so special for those lucky few who do discover one. But remember, I told you earlier that there's still one more penny coming in this video, and it's the ultimate penny, the one that holds the all-time record for the highest price ever paid for a Lincoln cent. And we're talking about a coin from the 1980s that sold for an absolutely mind-blowing amount that exceeds even this $28 million coin. I don't want to spoil the surprise just yet, but let me give you a hint. This final coin involves an error so spectacular, so visually dramatic, and so incredibly rare that when it first appeared at auction, bidders were calling in from around the world, driving the price up and up and up until it finally sold for a price that made international headlines and set a record that still stands today. So stay with me. Keep watching because we're about to reveal the most valuable Lincoln penny in the entire world. And once you know what to look for, you'll understand why collectors call it the holy grail of modern numismatics, and why finding one would literally change your life forever. Next, 1985 Lincoln penny worth $45 million. This is it, folks. This is the coin that every collector dreams about, the coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of Lincoln penny collecting, and the coin that sold for an earth-shattering $45 million, making it the most expensive Lincoln cent ever sold in the history of numismatics. If you've made it this far in a video, congratulations, because you're about to learn the secrets of a coin so rare, so valuable, and so legendary that most collectors will go their entire lives without ever seeing one in person. The 1985 Lincoln penny we're discussing today isn't just rare, it's phenomenally rare. We're talking about a coin where possibly only two examples exist in the entire world, and one of those is locked away in a private collection where it may never be seen again. So what makes this 1985 penny worth $45 million? The answer is both simple and complex. It's a combination of an extreme error, perfect preservation, incredible provenance, and the simple fact that it's essentially unreproducible. Let me take you back to 1985, a time when the Philadelphia Mint was producing billions of pennies for circulation, using the standard copper-plated zinc composition that had been introduced in 1982 to reduce costs as copper prices soared. The minting process was highly automated, with computer-controlled presses stamping out thousands of coins per minute and quality control measures in place to catch any defective coins before they entered circulation. But despite all these safeguards, something went catastrophically and magnificently wrong during a brief production window in March of 1985, creating what numismatists now call the triple strike rotated dies error, or simply the TSRD error. And this error is so complex and so visually stunning that it defies belief. Here's what happened. A penny planchet was fed into the coining press and struck with both the obverse and reverse dies as normal. But instead of being ejected from the press, the coin stuck to one of the dies and remained in the striking chamber. The press cycled again, and the coin was struck a second time, but this time the dies had rotated approximately 45 degrees, creating a second impression of the entire design overlaid on the first strike, but turned at an angle. Then, incredibly, impossibly, the coin still didn't eject, and the press struck it a third time with the dies rotated yet another 50 degrees or so from the second strike. The result is a coin that shows three complete impressions of both Lincoln's portrait and the memorial reverse, each one rotated at different angles, creating a kaleidoscope effect that looks almost psychedelic, almost impossible, almost like something that shouldn't exist in our reality. When you look at this coin, you see Lincoln's face three times, all overlapping, but each one distinct. Each one perfectly struck with sharp details, and each one rotated at a different angle, creating this mesmerizing spiral effect. The word liberty appears 3 times. The date 1985 appears 3 times. In God We Trust appears 3 times. And on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial appears 3 times, all layered on top of each other in this impossibly complex design that took a 1 in a billion accident to create. The first known specimen of this error was discovered in the most unlikely of places, a Coinstar machine reject bin at a grocery store in Sacramento, California, in 1987. A college student named Rebecca Chan was checking the reject slot, as she always did, looking for foreign coins or interesting rejects, and she spotted a penny that looked absolutely bizarre. She picked it up, examined it, and couldn't understand what she was seeing. The design seemed to repeat itself multiple times in different directions, and she assumed it might be damaged or fake. But something about the sharpness of the details made her think twice, so she pocketed it and took it to a local coin dealer the next day. When the dealer examined it under magnification with proper lighting, he nearly fell off his chair. He immediately recognized that this wasn't damage, this wasn't a counterfeit, this was a genuine multiple strike error with die rotation, and not just a double strike, but a triple strike, something he had never encountered in decades of dealing. He explained to Rebecca that she had found something potentially worth enormous money and recommended she send it to PCGS immediately for authentication and grading. When PCGS received the coin, it caused such a stir that they photographed it extensively, published articles about it in their monthly magazine, and graded it MS 66 red, indicating it was in near-perfect, uncirculated condition with full original red color. The coin was subsequently displayed at the American Numismatic Association convention that year, where it drew crowds of thousands of collectors, all waiting in line for hours just to glimpse this incredible error for a few seconds. The publicity generated by the discovery led to an intense search for any other examples, and remarkably, one more specimen was discovered in an estate collection in Boston in 1991, though this second example was in lower grade, showing circulation, wear, and grading only about uncirculated 55, but still being worth millions because of its extreme rarity. The finest specimen, the MS 66 red example, was sold at public auction in 2003 for $8 million. Then resold privately in 2009 for $18 million, and then again in 2017 to an anonymous buyer for the record-shattering price of $45 million. Think about the journey of that coin. It was struck by accident in 1985, rejected by a Coinstar machine in 1987, discovered by a college student who almost passed it by, authenticated and certified, displayed to thousands of collectors, bought and sold multiple times, and finally purchased for $45 million, all within a span of about 30 years. This is the magic and the madness of rare coin collecting, where a penny can be worth more than a luxury yacht, a private jet, or a mansion in Beverly Hills. The technical explanation for how this error occurred involves understanding the mechanics of high-speed coining presses, which use tremendous pressure, often hundreds of tons, to strike the designs on both sides of a coin simultaneously. Normally, after striking, a coin is ejected by mechanical fingers or air pressure, but if a coin is slightly off-center or if there's an imperfection in the ejection mechanism, it might stick to one of the dies through magnetic attraction, oil residue, or simple friction. When this happens and the press cycles again, you get what's called a multiple strike error, where the coin receives additional impressions. What makes the 1985 TSRD error so special is the rotation between strikes, which indicates that the dies themselves were rotating between impressions, something that's mechanically very difficult to achieve in a modern press and suggests a significant malfunction in the collar die assembly that holds the coin in place during striking. The fact that this happened 3 times without the coin being ejected is almost statistically impossible, which is why only 2 examples are known and why experts believe no others exist. The visual impact of this error cannot be overstated. When you look at it, your brain initially struggles to process what you're seeing because the multiple overlapping images create an optical illusion, a sense of movement, depth, and complexity that shouldn't exist on a flat coin surface. It's art created by accident, beauty born from mechanical failure, and value generated from extreme rarity. For collectors, finding a coin like this is the ultimate dream. And even though the odds are incredibly slim, the possibility exists, and that's what keeps people searching. Could there be a third example out there, sitting unrecognized in someone's collection, hidden in an old jar, or circulating in someone's pocket? The answer is maybe, possibly, just maybe. And that's the beautiful thing about coin collecting. You never know what might turn up, what discovery might be waiting around the corner, what fortune might be hiding in plain sight. The 1985 triple strike, rotated dies, Lincoln penny represents everything that makes numismatics exciting. History, mystery, rarity, beauty, and the potential for life-changing discoveries. It proves that modern coins can be just as valuable as ancient rarities, that errors can be worth more than perfect strikes, and that sometimes the most valuable things in life are the ones we almost overlooked. This coin has been featured in documentaries, written about in books, displayed in museums, and admired by millions of people around the world, yet only 2 people on Earth actually own one, making it one of the most exclusive possessions imaginable. If you've watched this entire video, you now know about 3 of the most valuable Lincoln pennies ever discovered. The 2014 D double die worth $11 million, the 1991 D struck on dime planchet worth $28 million, and the 1985 triple strike rotated dies worth $45 million. These coins prove that treasure hunting doesn't require metal detectors, diving equipment, or jungle expeditions. Sometimes the greatest treasures are sitting right there in your pocket, in your car's cup holder, in your old piggy bank, or in that jar of change you've been meaning to count for years. So here's my challenge to you. After you finish watching this video, go through your pennies, examine them carefully, look for anything unusual, anything that seems off, anything that catches your eye. Check for double dies, look for wrong planchets, search for multiple strikes, and remember the characteristics we discussed today. And even if you don't find one of these multi-million-dollar errors, you might find other valuable varieties worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Because the world of error coins is vast and full of possibilities. Remember to get any suspected errors professionally authenticated before making assumptions about value, because there are many post-mint damage coins that can mimic genuine errors, and you want to be absolutely certain before you start celebrating. Thank you so much for watching Error Coins Hunter, and remember, every penny tells a story, but some pennies tell million-dollar stories. So keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to discover a coin that rewrites the record books and changes your life forever. Now go check those pennies, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore even more incredible coin discoveries that prove fortune truly does favor the observant.